Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting episode of EdTalk World. I am your host, Krish Basra, and today we have a distinguished guest who has made significant contribution to the field of education. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Sudhir Gavhane. Mr. Gavhane, a renowned academic leader and former Vice-Chancellor of Yashwantrao, Chavan, Maharashtra Open University, aka YCMOU in Nashik, the founding Vice-Chancellor of MGM University in Aurangabad, Maharashtra, and the Chief Academic Officer of Kunya Group of Institution, Kerala. Without any ado, let me introduce him to all of you. Hello, Dr. Gavhane. Welcome to EdTalk. How are you doing today?
Hello. Thank you very much for giving me an opportunity to express my views and opinion and analysis before the audience of your company. And EdTalk is a kind of a good idea, innovative idea, I will say, because TED Talk is about the business, industry, and even education. It encompasses every aspect. Here, you are focusing only on education, and therefore, I appreciate the initiative of EdTalk World. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Before we commence this interview today, again, I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to you for sparing your valuable time today and joining us for this enlightening session.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay. To begin with, to cover a few aspects, sir, we are sincerely looking forward to delve deep into the intricacies of the Indian higher education system and benefiting once again from Dr. Sudhir Gavhane from covering his vast experience and insights. So to initiate our discussion, sir, the first question that I have for you is, according to you, what's the analysis of Indian higher education system?
Yeah. So, Indian higher education system, as a student of higher education since last more than 4 decades, I have a complete analytical view and critical view of Indian higher education system. Basically, we have to visit 1950 when we got freedom from British. That time, in 1950, when we just got the freedom, that time in India, there were only 20 universities in India, 500 colleges, and 1 lakh students of higher education sector put together. Okay. With this, minimal kind of infrastructure for such a huge country of ours, it was the priority of the government, central government as well as the state government, as a democratic country, giving right to education to every child and every young man of our country. And during last more than 7 decades, I appreciate the respective governments from time to time, maybe it's central government or the state government, they have tried their best to invest into education sector. For example, just from 20 universities in India at that time, 1950, now 2023, we are having 1,043 universities. Huge progress we can notice in terms of numbers. Absolutely. In terms of colleges, we were having just, I told you, just 500 colleges across the country. Okay. At present, we are having 52,000 colleges across India, colleges and higher education institutions to be specific. Okay. And in terms of student population who are entering into the domain of higher education, the number is, really very impressive and admirable. For example, the number of students at present is 378 million. That is 3 crore 78 lakhs, right? And the overall share of India into studentship of higher education is reasonably very good. Our GR, gross enrollment ratio, when we got the freedom, was just minimal, 4 to 5%. Now the GR has reached to 38%. So the progress of creating an opportunity, democracy means creating an opportunity, giving freedom, giving opportunity, of empowering oneself, discovering oneself. And therefore, education is the most important thing. And now, if you see the overall spectrum and prism of higher education, you will find that we are having, around 50 central universities, national institutions of importance like IIT, IIMs, which are in a public sector and doing very well. And our students of those universities are giving the leadership to the all developed world's top multinational companies. That is the proud feeling we all are having about our institutions. They are creating a human capital which has global importance. That is one achievement. At the same time, in comparison with the central government, state governments have contributed well in the expansion and development of universities, because around 50 institutions have been established by Government of India, but the state governments have developed around 450 state public universities, as well as 343 self-financed or private universities, state-financed private universities. There are 128 deemed to be universities, which are the institutions which got status of deemed to be universities. There are some public universities, there are some private universities in that sector. This is the overall university structure, higher education institutions in India. The GR has increased, I have said, but the problem of quality remains a question. For example, we have a NAC, National Assessment and Accreditation Council, created for the quality assessment and accreditation of the colleges and universities, higher education institutions. Out of, around 52,000 colleges and institutions of higher learning, only around less than 9,000 are accredited, meaning that still 80% institutions are unaccredited. That is one very important point. Their quality is not yet assessed. Okay. Secondly, in terms of universities, we are having 1,043 universities. Out of that, 400 universities are being accredited. It means that around 600 universities are not yet accredited. So the number around 65% universities are not yet accredited. And the quality of the higher education being imparted by those institutions, particularly even the public and private, are questionable. There are a handful few universities in public sector or in private sector. They are doing well, right? They're trying to compete with the world institutions. So the quality of any institution doesn't depend whether it is established by a public sector, government sector, or by a private sector. It depends on the quality of the infrastructure, quality of the human capital, academicians, teachers, researchers, quality of the students those universities have. And because of that, only the quality increases. May it be a private, may it be public. But the motto of the institution is very important. Education is a public good, not a private good. Education should not be an profiteering, amassing money institutions. So I have categorized, you like to listen to that categorization I have made. There are two types of universities in India, right? One is MAM. The MAM stands for money amassing machines.
Okay.
There are private universities, barring exceptional few. Most of the private institutions, may they be a college or they be a university, they are into a business, an industry of education. And they have become money amassing machines. So their responsibility, their accountability is highly questionable. And in a country like India, where 75% of the students, 70% of the students of young age group, 18 to 23, they are not able to enter into the spectrum and the canvas of higher education because of socio-economic reasons, because of the poverty, because of the illiteracy of their parents. And for them, we have to create avenues to reach to the higher education. We have to support them to come out of that and enter into the higher education sector to empower themselves, discover themselves. The power of education is to give competency and ability to a person to discover himself, talent gifted by the nature. What are the powers gifted to me by the nature? That can be discovered when I go to a college or university. And teachers are the facilitator who help them to discover their abilities and competencies. Correct? So that
Absolutely.
decoding is very important. Unless and until I was a first generation learner. Okay, first graduate of my family, first doctorate of my family, first kind of professor, university professor of my family. And I was never expecting that I will become in my life Vice-Chancellor of any university. I was expecting a degree certificate, one. That was the Himalaya for me. But because of my empowerment through education, higher studies, I have reached to the position of Vice-Chancellor, and I have got an authority that to sign on the degrees of thousands of students. See the growth. I'm appreciating because of the system created by our democracy, where I could get education and improve myself, decode myself, discover myself, and create my imprints in the field of higher education sector where I'm working. Therefore, higher education is an empowering process. Higher education is a discovering process. And if you give to millions and millions of young generation of ours, you are empowering them, means you are empowering the nation and society and industry. Human capital is created, and human capital is more powerful than the capital itself. Because human brain, ideas, innovative ideas, disruptive ideas, create human wealth. They create wealth. It is the brain of a human being, ideas of the human being. They create disruptive innovation. They create unicorn companies having 1 billion, wealth. They have created within 7 years of time. And there are very young, dynamic persons with disruptive ideas came into the sector using technology and establishing unicorn companies, which are creating jobs for thousands of young unemployed boys and girls. We have to appreciate that. That is the power of education. The most powerful weapon of social transformation is the highest opportunity of higher education to everyone. And therefore, into sustainable development goals of the United Nations, there are 17 goals. The fourth goal that says quality education for everyone. So everyone has right to get highest possible education, and that kind of facilities and competencies and quality infrastructure, quality education is to be able to create. And seeing the number of quality institutions in our country, accredited institutions, we can notice that only 5 to 8% universities are of A and above grade. Only 5 to 8% colleges and higher education institutions are A grade. It means most of the institutions are either B grade, or some of them are unaccredited, and some of them have not even entered, majority of them have not even entered into the quality assessment and accreditation. And therefore, quality is a big question. And I personally feel now we all, and even the government of India, should look into the quality enhancement mission of university. How universities and colleges can improve their quality in the best possible way, and they become globally competitive. That competitiveness, globally competitiveness, creating a global citizens from our country and providing them to the world as a human capital is the most important strength of India. So that is called as demographic dividend, which will be demographic dividend for India. And in that light, I personally feel that quality is a bigger issue, most important issue for the prosperity of any country, for that matter, our India too.
Thank you so much for this brief insights on the research of Indian history, sir, because this will definitely gonna shed a light on a lot of us understanding what's the value of education in terms of India, specifically talking about Indian education system deriving through the research. So that was indeed a very lighting session. So thank you so much for your beautifully constructed answer. To add on something on this, or I would say in addition to this, I would also like to ask that according to you, where does India stand in terms of research and development? Because research and development plays a vital role in the progress of any nation.
Yeah, I'm thankful to you for raising this very, very important issue. See, we are in a knowledge society, knowledge-driven society, correct? In a knowledge-driven society, money or wealth is not at a driving force. A driving force is a knowledge. And where this knowledge comes from? It do not fall from heaven. It do not fall from sky. It do not be purchased by money or huge capital. No, not possible. It is created into R&D laboratories of the universities and colleges and industry laboratories of R&D. So R&D is the mother of knowledge. New knowledge is created by R&D, research and development. So research is the mother of knowledge. When that new knowledge is created by the higher education system, right, and the quality knowledge, most importantly, quality knowledge, high quality knowledge is created, then application of that knowledge creates technology. So knowledge application means creating a technology. Okay. So technology is a grandchild of research, R&D. Okay. And once grandchild is created, it creates an economic sector. For example, computer was devised by human beings. Okay. Earlier, people were saying that because of computerization, we lose the jobs. And there was opposition from a lot of progressive, so-called progressive people too. But later on, we realized that computerization is parallelly creating millions of jobs. Exactly. And the companies like Infosys and Wipro, we know, we can name many others. So they are creating millions of jobs. Okay. It means the technology creates new jobs, new economic sector. And new jobs and new economic sector empowers the economy of a particular country, creating purchasing power into the people of new generation that boosts the industry and the market. And we purchase, and because of our purchase, industrial growth happens, production increases, exports increases, and economy steadily strengthens. That revolution, that transformation has taken place during last 7 decades or so. We cannot give credit to one particular government. It's a central government, whatever the governments have come till now, these are the state government's contribution, respective time to time, and this requires times, right? Our democracy is a very new, seven decades means nothing, right? There are countries which are having 400, 500 years of democracy in their country, okay? So in that light, if you compare, then we'll come to know that this is the power of education, and the importance is where we are into R&D. That is the most important aspect of any knowledge system which is dependent on the higher education system. And if you see I will share you few numbers so that we can understand. So let me share few numbers to you so that we can have a proper idea of data, so that I will not be speaking in air. I should speak with evidence. So I'm speaking with evidence. So yeah. So higher education sector, which we think of very important for the country's overall development. Let me come to the point where we can understand the contribution of our India into the higher education sector. Now coming to the patents, okay? Patents is the output of quality research, high quality research. patent is created, the commercialization of patent happens, products are designed, prototypes are created, and industry manufactures that, and it gives boost to economy, right? So in terms of patents, where we stand, for example, I have a data of 2017, and you can realize that China, which was second to US till now, during last 20 years, China has progressed a lot. Dramatic achievements China has achieved. We have to learn from them. Instead of envy of them, we have to learn from them, right? China at present is having 13,80,594 applications for patents. 13,81,000. Out of that, they got patent sanction is 4,20,144. 4,20,000, remember. Next in the world is the US, which was leading for decades together. It was the leading country in terms of patents, in terms of R&D, research. Now it has gone to number 2 globally. And applications from US is 6,06,1956. China 13,81,000. 13,81,000. And US 6,06,000. Out of that, they got patent sanction 3,18,1829. 3,18,000. Okay, to a meta figure. Okay. Then comes Japan. Japan is having applications 3,18,000, and they are having patent sanctions 1,99,577, almost 2 lakhs we can say. It's a number 3 in terms of patent. Therefore prosperity, therefore progress, therefore economic achievements, therefore economic power, economic superpower they have become. The European Union, whole of the European Union of 44 countries, their patent office is having application of 1,66,000, and patent they got is 1,05,000. So they are half of the Japan. India, coming to the India, our India is a vast country comparable to the China's population, right? And we compete with China by all means, and our applications were 46,582. That of China were 13,81,000. We got 12,387 patents. 12,387 patents sanctioned. And that China got 4,20,144. So in terms of patents, you can realize we are far, far away from the top countries in the world in terms of patent, and patents mean quality R&D, research and development, and quality R&D means quality human capital researchers in our country. There we are lacking. And if universities and higher education institutions and the industrial laboratories, R&D laboratories are not contributing to the R&D, remarkable R&D, knowledge creation, technical know-how creation, then we will be customer of knowledge created by the developed world. And we'll be knowledge workers. We are providing knowledge workers to them. Okay. So they are creating new knowledge, they are creating new technologies, and we are becoming the customer and consumer of those technologies. When we will be mastering the skill of quality R&D, creating new products, getting huge number of patents and creating our economic impact on global level, that is a big question for us and for university. Again, I will give you one more data. Hello? Yeah. Just a minute, give me a second. I always believe in talking with the actual data, because many times we fail in doing that, and that gives us sometimes a wrong picture also. Exactly. We have to be very critical. Yeah. The figures are lying, figures are telling truth. giving evidence.
Exactly.
So, yeah. So
That's
just
why
a
there is a
minute.
quote as well. The one should always believe in facts.
Yeah. Just a minute. Yeah. Among the universities, I would like to coming to the point of universities. For example, in Indian universities, all IITs put together, they have got 557 patents in 2018-19. That of Chandigarh University, 336. Council of Scientific Research and Industrial Research, CSIR, Government of India Unit, 202. And that of Tata Consultancy Services, 239. And that of Bharat Heavy Electricals, again a public sector company, 173. These figures state us that where are our universities in this graph? Where are we on the R&D graph of the India and the world? So therefore, why we are not in the top 200 universities? This is the reason of that. Okay, we are not able to attract international students. For example, best universities in the world able to attract 14 to 15% of the international students coming from 70, 80, 100 plus countries, nationalities. They are not coming to us. Why they are not coming? Our quality of education is not assurance of high quality. And therefore, we have to concentrate on this area and go ahead with the reality. Now, few more figures I will say, and so that I will. So grant of patent. Now, how much the country is spending on the R&D as a percentage of GDP? That is one criteria. In that criteria, you will find that R&D spend of GDP of Japan is 3.2 of the GDP of that country. Okay, that of US is 2.8. That of China is 2.1. European Union is 2, and India is less than 1, that is 0.07. So our governments, central or state, or our private sector or corporates are not spending enough on R&D, and therefore there are no results. If there are no results, there is no quality research, there is no quality production of knowledge, and there is no application, there is no technology created by India. This is the problem we are facing in India. And as well as one more figure is very important in this in this direction, which I will just share you. Just a minute, give me a minute's time. Now, coming to the India, particularly in terms of patents, steadily we are progressing. We have to appreciate that. For example, in 2014-15, there were patent approved were 5,978. And the number in 2018-19 has increased to 15,283. So number is increasing, but the speed of number is not as we are expecting for India to progress with the speed which expect. Then coming to one more important aspect is how many researchers are there per million population. In that terms, if you compare this, for example, Norway, Sweden, okay, the Netherlands, US, UK, these are the countries, they are producing more researchers per million. They are having their number is 7,000, 6,000, 4,000. Japan is also doing well. Germany is doing well. And in India, it is just 120 researchers per million population. Just imagine the vast gap between the number of researchers India is creating or producing our universities are creating and producing, and the kind of research the foreign countries, developed countries are creating and producing. There is one more statistics I will say and stop this point. In terms of, there is a innovation index, global innovation index is calculated. So where that innovation is happening in which countries, okay? And their ranking is done every year, okay? Our India, in terms of global index, innovation index, global innovation index, our standing and our rank is 48. So there are 47 countries above us. There are small countries doing very well, better than us. So why there is no innovation happening on ground in India? Universities and governments and state governments and industry, corporate world has to give, thought to this. Why this is happening? Because our R&D was zero when pre-1991, when liberation started happening. Before that, even the automobile companies, they have not changed even the colors of the scooters. They don't change the color. Leave behind the R&D improving. When the private sectors, multinationals came into India, and that time we find that, every month there is a new product coming in automobile sector, in every sector for that matter. So competition is must. Quality competition is must, and therefore our Indian automobile companies have become international because of this competition, right? Our products are marketed in the world now. They have become global, from local to global. So that kind of role we have to play, and India has to focus on R&D. Universities have to focus on R&D, maybe private or public, and state governments are also required to invest into R&D so that disruptive innovation will happen, economic change will happen, transformation will happen, and because of that, jobs will be created and prosperity will be created. And this happens because of higher education, R&D only. We are very weak in that area. Steadily we are improving, but the speed is not admirable.
Amazing, sir. That will thank you so much for the beautifully constructed, again, the way you have explained the importance of research and development will definitely put us, many of us, on thought that whether the R&D is actually going in the right path or not. One point that you mentioned about technologies, when technologies were on the grow, multiple of us had this minor, a thought in the mind that whether these technologies were going to take our jobs. But again, when the facts comes to the picture, this was a very valid point that after the technologies, there is a rapid increase in terms of the jobs as compared to the thought that we had in earlier. So once again, thank you so much for sharing your great insights on this valuable topic in the terms of education of India, where we as an Indians are standing in research and development.
Thank you.
In conclusion to this, one thing that you mentioned regarding the education is NEP, the NEP, National Education Policy. So according to you, what are your views in NEP 2020 and Indian higher education system, specifically talking about the prospects and the pitfall, how these all are leading to you? I would be honored if you can share your thought on this as a leading academician.
Yeah. See, National Education Policy 2020 has came after earlier policy was declared in 1986. So after that, after a long time, and a lot of transformation and changes in technology have happened during that period. And it is a good initiative of Government of India to have a national education policy under the Chairman Kasturi, a very renowned scientist. The document itself is very vibrant. It is appropriate to the time, connecting our higher education system into the global higher education system, aligning with them. Okay. reaching out to the multidisciplinary research, dismantling the disciplinary four walls. Multidisciplinary research is the time. And now they have come up with the kind of classification, which is now degree awarding institutions, which will be dedicated to the just training, educating, and awarding degrees. Research intensive university, which will be focusing on R&D, as we know that we are very weak into that. At the same time, there is a category of, Meru University, that is multidisciplinary education and research university. The existing singular disciplinary university, for example, there is a medical university, there is an engineering university, there is a university dedicated to the arts. Those universities will be converted into multidisciplinary education institutions, where other disciplines will also be instituted by the concerned university. And de-affiliating system of colleges, higher education institution. For example, the Mumbai University or the Bangalore University, they are having number of colleges affiliated are more than 700. So if a Vice-Chancellor decides to visit all institutions under his jurisdiction, it takes more than 5 years, and term is of 5 years or 3 years. In some states, it's 4 years. So even visiting that every unit of that university is not possible because of the vast number of affiliated colleges. Now the concept in this new education policy is de-affiliating, but at the same time, that is a very good idea. Okay, but at the same time, there is a problem. The problem is this: if you want to de-affiliate, who will share the risk of finances? Who will invest into them? Because the state universities or the central universities, they are not ready to take the financial responsibility of other colleges. Who will pay for them? There are unaided colleges where grants are not given by the government. In that case, who will take that responsibility, and how our colleges and university will become self-financing, self-sufficient in terms of imparting education and in terms of income generation. So that is also a big risk. And therefore, this structure, which has been envisaged into new education policy, is futuristic, is affiliating our university system to the global system, where multiple entry and multiple exit is also planned. It's a student-centric. For example, any student want to complete 1 year and he want to go to industry for a job, then he will get a certificate. If he completes 2 years and he want to go into industry or his family work, then he will get a diploma. 3 years, he will get a general degree. And 4 years, if he put it 4 years, he will get a degree with 4th year as a research contribution year. So in that fashion, that student can complete the master degree in 1 year. If you have 4 years degree acquired, then you can do the masters. At present, we require 2 years. It can be done in 1 year. And if you are done 3 years degree program, then you can do the masters in 2 years as it is. So those who are doing graduation with highest score and grades, they can directly go for research. That is also a new opening is established by the new education policy. And the University Grants Commission, which is a regulatory authority at present, it will be converted into National Commission on Higher Education. So these changes are envisaged into our higher education system, but the policy says 6% of the GDP should be invested into education. And during last 2 years, we could not find that much. It is just 3.2 or 3.1. So we have to double the investment into higher education sector as per the NEP 2020. That is not happening. Number two, it expects to double the GER, gross enrollment ratio, to 50% by 2035. Again, in that case, how many institutions we have to create, or how many new departments and intake, admission intake is to be increased, new institutions are to be established, where we have that much of resources to invest into this. These are the basic questions where these GR achievement of 50% Whether it is possible in next 15 years or so is dependent on that. And at the same time, we have to change our mindset. The teachers, the universities, the management, the governments, all have to be focused on higher education. Higher education and health were not the top priority of our country. They are not at present also. If you see the global GDP share in health sector and in our education sector, we are poorest of poor. And therefore, we have to change our mindset. Individual teachers have to be researchers, quality teachers. Institutions have to contribute and allocate budget for R&D. Government has to allocate for R&D. Corporate sector has to allocate budget for R&D. And this give and take between the universities and industry should not be an ornamental thing of one function. It should be a regular give and take between both the units. Then and then only we can be a knowledge society, we can be a knowledge economy. And knowledge economy, becoming a knowledge economy means we are becoming superpower of the world. Then only India will prosper and progress in expected direction and expected speed. Therefore, I call education is a future of any country, right? Exactly. And what about the future of education? It depends on the policymakers and the private sector, corporate sector to invest into this area, discuss this in a right direction, and achieve the goals of empowering our society, empowering our young generation. Otherwise, the demographic dividends we cannot get. It will be a demographic problem because of unemployment, unrest, violence. Everything will come with the unemployment. We have to think in that direction. That is the power of education, either to create unemployed or either to create employed and empowering the society and economy.
That's excellent, sir. That's excellent. Thank you so much, Dr. Gavhane, for sharing your profound insight on these crucial aspects of Indian higher education. I'm sure that your expertise and perspective have shed light on the challenges and opportunities we have faced as a nation. It has been an absolute pleasure having you on our show today.
Yeah. Let me conclude with one quote. Okay, please allow me to quote that. You know, we all of us know the Harari, right? Noah Harari, who is a great thinker of our times. And Lessons for the 21st Century is his book, in which he says, my agenda here is global. I look at the major forces that shape societies all over the world and that are likely to influence the future of our planet as a whole. Climate change may be the far beyond the concerns of people in the midst of life and death emergency. We are facing it. But it might eventually make Mumbai slums uninhabitable. Enormous new waves of refugees across the Mediterranean and lead to the worldwide crisis of healthcare. This is the challenges we are going to face, right? So climate change, so climate restoration is climate action is very important. Sustainable development goals are very important. No country in isolation can think of their own progress and prosperity. We are a part of the world. We are part of the nature. And if we, do the invasion on the nation, right? Nature will react, and nature is presently reacting. Okay. So we have to restore the nature, restore the environment, and restore the human society, life on the world. And if life on the world in danger, then humanity is also in danger. We have to think in that broader perspective. It is not of humanity, it is of the life on the earth, right?
So true, sir. So true. Thank you so much, Dr. Gavhane, for inspiring
a lot
of us. It was indeed a pleasure session connecting with you. And it was our honor as a NetTalk, as an organization on behalf of everyone. Thank you so much for taking out your time. Before we conclude, for our viewers, if you like this chat, please make sure that you subscribe us, like our YouTube channel. This is Krish from EdTalk World with Dr. Gavhane signing off for today. Thank you so much for all of you.